Warning before we get into this episode, I do my whole spiel and intro. You might notice that my voice is a little hoarse sounding. I blew it out. I have been trying to recover it for a day, and it is where we're at now. So this is what you get, and I apologize ahead of time for a full episode of me sounding like this. But the show must go on. So here we are. Let's get into it. On this episode of Plus Club, we will be discussing Battlefield 5 Stranded Deep and Wreckfest, which we played throughout the month of May. But before we do that, quick reminders to download and play Operation Tango, Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown, and Star Wars Squadrons, all offered for free on PlayStation Plus. Make sure to download those, play those throughout June, and come back at the end of June for Plus Club. And we'll talk about that. And our game of the month still for like a day is Zero Escape, the Nonary games, which we all played and we'll be talking about tomorrow for game of the month and picking a brand new game of the month for June as well. We have a Patreon if you'd like to support this channel further than liking this video, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. If you're brand new around here, we're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms if you prefer to listen to us in audio form. And I think that's about everything. So let's get into this episode. What's going on, guys, and welcome to May's episode of Plus Club, the show where we play the games offered on PlayStation Plus throughout the month, and at the end of the month we talk about them, or at least try to talk about them. If you sound like me, it's a little rough. My name's Seth, and joining me, of course, is to my left, your right, Chevy, and up in the box we got Chris hanging out. As always, how you guys doing?
Doing good. Having a hard time adjusting to your voice still, but
I know I sound real good. I sound real raspy.
But yeah, otherwise, just kind of been chilling.
Yeah. Chris?
I'm recovering from a night of drinking, but I'm doing good.
Oh, shit. What'd you drink?
I had 6 Truly Lemonades in the course of 3 hours.
Ooh, party. Why wasn't I invited? My voice? I don't want you around here. We don't want to listen to that.
You gotta go.
I had a couple beers last night, too. And then I had some mead.
Oh, you broke into it, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to let you try it. It's pretty good.
How fancy.
Yeah.
Drinking the mead.
Some of the oldest
Milady.
type of, pretty much that's what I felt like. I was busting out the mead. I was like, whew, this is nerdy. It was good, though. Tastes like honey and ginger. I like both those things.
Sounds good.
It's pretty good. Definitely have to try it. I also have that whiskey I need to try, too. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about games. I already said in the intro a bit about my situation, but for like the last day and a half, I have lost my voice. So bear with me in this episode. I'm actually able to talk a lot better right now than I was when I did that intro. So
some headphone users might appreciate it, though.
Yeah, maybe some people prefer the more subtle voice of me, not just shrilly screaming like I do every episode. So we got 3 games to talk about, of course, which is Battlefield 5, Stranded Deep, and Wreckfest, but we know the games for June, which are Operation Tango, which I believe is the PS5 game, Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown, such a long name, it's a whole sentence, and Star Wars Squadrons. I talked a little bit about what I thought of these, but what do you guys think about these games as we move into June?
I respectfully don't really care about the Star Wars game, but I mean, I'll be playing it.
What about just a space flying, shooting, dogfighting game that you can play with your friends?
Most people get them wrong, so I have low expectations. Sadly.
Rude.
Well, it's just true. Sadly,
guys who made Squadrons are watching this. What's up? And they're like, "You get it wrong."
Maybe
that's what
I could be wrong. I want to be wrong. I want to play it and enjoy it. So that's my hope. I don't know what the hell a tango is, so that'll be interesting.
So Operation Tango, for anybody who doesn't know, because in the Discord I was like, what the fuck is this? And everybody's like, we're going to find out. It is a 2-player cooperative game where somebody is a hacker, so your screen's like virtual. Okay. And then the other person is on the ground. They're like a spy. And you go into these locations, and the person on the computer has to talk to you over VoIP. And they hack doors for you. They look at cameras for you. There's one scene I saw where this person was in a room that's pitch black, except for there's like a window that had light, and that was it. And the person on the hacking end could see the floor had these colored tiles, and they're telling him where to walk and look at the floor to open these things. So it's kind of an escape room style game, but also Just a cooperative game.
That sounds kind of fun, actually.
Yeah. I think it's the PS5 game, though, so we're going to have to play that. And Chris, of course, can come over.
He won't, but yeah.
And try it out.
Tell him every month, you can come play the PS5 game. Nope.
It's too heavy. He doesn't want to lift it.
It's because he needs to be told what to do instead of just inviting himself over.
Ooh. that might be his thing. Fucking tell me what to do.
And sadly, I'm probably most excited for Virtua Fighter.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of sad.
I haven't played Virtua Fighter in a long time, and I like fighting games.
Virtua Fighter 5, though. Although in Yakuza I played it, I was like, this game's still pretty fun.
See, fighting games the formula's been there forever, so.
Yeah, they haven't really evolved a lot. I mean, they definitely have in, like, small adjustments over the years that made them play better, but they're still basically...
they're just way snappier now.
Yeah, they're just smoother and play better, and combos are easier to do and make more sense. They feel less cheap.
And are visually grand now.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Fighting games are always a spectacle visually. But the basics of a fighting game is pretty simple. Just beat the fuck out of the guy up. So,
don't get hit and hit them.
Yeah.
So.
Although Virtua Fighter, like DOA, is a... not DOA, Soul Calibur is a ring-out style fighting game, which would be interesting to play because not a lot of those.
Yeah, it also has some like Tekken-y vibes to it too. So yeah, no, it's been a long time. So and with Guilty Gear coming out, I think this month as well, it'll be interesting to play.
Oh yeah,
another fighting game. So,
Chris, thoughts?
I am going to quote Chevy here, and I have respectfully disinterest in all of the games coming out this month.
Damn.
I mean, I've known Virtua Fighter. It's a fighting game, and I enjoy fighting games a lot. But I've never played Virtua Fighter, and I know Virtua Fighter is very like core in fighting games for a lot of people. But I've never played it, and it's always been for me personally one of those outlier fighting games, just kind of like meh, whatever about. But then I'm the kind of kid who grew up playing Mortal Kombat because it was brutal and the combos were relatively easy. So
the weird thing about Virtua Fighter is it was a real big deal when it first came out because it's one of the first like 3D games, specifically fighting games.
It was also in like every arcade.
It was in every arcade, and it was like on Sega as a 3D game. So like it was like legit 3D on 16-bit, which is crazy to think about. There's only like 3 other games like that. It was a racing game that was really fucking crazy for then, and obviously games like Star Fox also attempted to do shit like that. But the thing about Virtua Fighter that's interesting is like unlike games like Eternal Champions and like
I haven't heard that name forever.
Yeah, and a bunch of other fighting games that just like showed up and just disappeared during like the golden age, not the golden age, but like the gold rush of fighting games. They all disappeared. Virtua Fighter kind of stuck around for a little bit, kind of struggled. I would say DOA did that for a little bit too. DOA's definitely been around longer and been more successful in my opinion, but Virtua Fighter has like kind of stayed relevant, although not really. So that the idea that you didn't play in the past kind of blows my mind. But the idea of you not playing it as like it's not like a mainline fighting game nowadays, yeah, that makes complete sense to me because like it doesn't. What does Virtua Fighter offer as its like niche that other games don't? I mean, Soul Calibur's got its thing, DOA's got its thing, Street Fighter's absolutely got its thing, Mortal Kombat's got its thing. What does Virtua Fighter do? It's an old school fighting game pretty much with very generic characters. So yeah, it's just interesting. You haven't played it.
Not a splits. I've seen it, like you said, in arcades when I was a kid. I was like, that game looks boring. Those characters don't look interesting.
Second-rate Street Fighter. So I'll be excited to see you actually play it and give your opinions on it. So this will be a first. And this is I think, remake of Virtua Fighter 5. So when I looked at it, they showed a side-by-side comparison, and it pretty much looked like Yakuza. The people who make Yakuza are like working on this, so it kind of looks more like Yakuza now.
I'm sure they're testing interest.
Like the skin graphics and everything looks very similar to it. So, and no interest in the other 2 games, huh?
Not really.
Fair.
I'm not much for fighter pilot games. And
yeah.
The only way I'd play the other one is with one of you guys. Really, I have no interest in playing games like that with strangers.
Sure, stranger danger. Oddly, I'm most interested in Operation Tango because it's a game I didn't even hear about until recently. It sounds interesting. I don't think I'm going to love it, but we'll see. Come back at the end of June, we'll talk about it. Virtua Fighter 5, I think it's going to be fine. I played it already in Yakuza, played it when it came out back in the day. It'll be fine. I'm interested to see what they do with it. And it'll be interesting to have that discussion as well. Star Wars Squadrons, I bought when it came out, and I refunded it before my 2 hours were up on Steam so I could get that refund. So we'll talk about it. Warning to everybody. This game came out and you might have played it, you might have not played it, and you're like, there's some potential here possibly. And then the people who made it already moved on to the next project. They're not supporting it. So this is what you get. So fair warning. We'll talk about it though. So yeah, anything else you guys want to say on that before we move into the games we did play?
No, other than it seems like it's going to be a pretty easy month. I always say that, but then watch our game of the month be complicated. So
honestly, this does seem like a very easy month because Squadrons and Virtua Fighter are games I don't intend to like put a lot of time into, and Operation Tango seems like it's going to be like a one and done type game possibly.
I have a feeling once we sit down and play it, we'll probably just cruise through it.
Yeah, exactly, because I don't think there's going to be replayability, and I don't think it's going to be very long. But it is kind of nice because PlayStation, and I've been saying this every month, I'm going to say it this month, PlayStation's been fucking killing it with PlayStation Plus games. Just packing them full of fucking like big games, with plenty of hours to put into them, high value stuff. So it's kind of nice that Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown's brand new. It's releasing when it comes out on PlayStation Plus. So
it seems to be a pretty common thing to happen too.
Yeah, and Operation Tango I think is new as well. And Star Wars Squadron hasn't been out that long, so it's another pretty big month. But smaller games, so appreciated. Let us know in the comments what you guys think about the games coming out in June, and we will of course talk about it in June. All right, in May, which we're still in, we played Battlefield 5, Stranded Deep, and Wreckfest. Feel like we should probably talk about Stranded Deep first. So if you didn't get a chance to play Stranded Deep, it is a survival game, like many survival games, in the sense that you would need to cut down trees, find rocks, kill things to survive, build shelter, build fire, and advance to make your survival easier and better. The twist to this one is you are on the ocean. You have a raft. You are able to kind of go around the ocean in an archipelagical type area and find islands that have resources that are limited, and then move on to island to island to island. And that is essentially its big twist to the survival genre. I believe we all played it. And I am dying to know what. Let's start with Chris. What'd you think of Stranded Deep?
So I've played this game in the past, but on PC. So hopping into PlayStation 4 was pretty, I knew the kind of gist of what I was getting into. It is definitely, as far as survival games go, I've played a few before. This one is probably the more difficult one I've played, only because the island hopping is definitely... Sorry?
Play Green Hell.
No.
That one's fucking rough. Sorry, I interrupted you.
You fight. If this one's hard enough, I don't want to jump into that one.
Yeah, it's rough.
The difficulty for me is the island hopping and trying to gather enough resources and then maintaining where your centralized base is if you decide to keep a centralized base, which I think is kind of what you have to do to progress in the game. But I found that the transition between PC version and the PlayStation version or console version is difficult in the control scheme. It is very much designed for a PC mindset of keyboard and mouse. Just trying to stop paddling out of the boat I'd have to take my hand off the left hand of my controller and put it on the right hand to look down while holding square down just to disengage the boat. And it was just constant, I'm running out of water. Like throughout the day, one day I would have to make like 5 trips just to make enough water. And if you drink too much coconut juice, you fucking shit yourself with diarrhea and you become dehydrated. So it's like a never-ending cycle. I get it, humans need a lot of water to drink, but I mean, come on, man, it's a bit excessive how much water you have to just maintain on this little island.
It's the heat, dude. Sun's getting to you.
Yeah, I guess. But just lay in the cool water, you'll be fine. The little shallows right
just take
there.
a sip of that ocean water, you'll be good.
Yeah,
Plenty
yeah.
of water.
Um, but between that resource and maintaining twine, which is needed for fucking everything in this game, was a constant headache. Where
Twine
I
is the
got to a
bane
point
of
where
my fucking existence in every survival game ever. Fuck off, Twine. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to go find Thatch. I don't want to fuck it. I don't want to do shit. Fuck Twine.
yeah, fucking fuck twine. And like the resources are limited on these islands. Like in some games they'll grow back. In this one, trees, specifically coconut trees, which are like a primary resource for a lot of the materials you need, like coconuts for food and water, the palm leaves for water and crafting, and again the tree trunks. If you cut those down, they don't grow back. So it forces you to travel further and further and further and further just to maintain basic supplies, which I think is not the best ideal for a gameplay. It's definitely more realistic in that style of like if you were actually stuck in these these tiny little island groupings. God, I can't speak today.
Archipelago.
Yeah, those ones. Uh, it would definitely be a trouble of having to maintain those resources by going further and further. But it doesn't. It's not what I was hoping for in a gameplay, but it's whatever. I never beat the game though, just because I got so frustrated with having to travel so far, so often, to maintain a steady supply of food and water. It was just so frustrating.
I never beat it either. I've played it plenty on PC and now on console. So yeah, I don't know what the end is like. I've also never finished The Forest, which I really like as well. I think it's made by the same people. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah. Anything else?
No, I was just frustrated the whole time playing that game.
Yeah, so I'll jump in next because you kind of touched on a couple things that got me a little amped up. So the thing you touched on the most, I'll just get it out of the way. Well, first off, I always like to let people kind of know where I'm coming from with games. So played this when it came out. I still am very big on survival games. And I was coming from The Forest at the time, which I think is the same people. If it's not, these people pretty much just ripped off their systems. But and their visual style and the airplane crashing and all that shit. So yeah, coming over from that, there's an excitement on like, oh, this is like not in the woods, it's on islands, it's a new twist. Well, now where we're at in survival games, this has been done many times now. Everybody's tried a lot of things, so it's not really, the idea is not as novel as it once was. But there was a lot of excitement back then when I played it. I played it before they introduced multiplayer. That's something I was going to wait out for, and I guess I still gotta wait out for because this didn't have it. Correct me if I'm wrong as well. When I looked this up, apparently there's multiplayer on either PS4 or PS5. One of the two has it, but it's split screen only, which is weird. So I just didn't even look into it any further than that because I was like, I'm not doing that. Anyway, so I played this in the past and I haven't played it since. Coming back to it on console, I was kind of excited to see how far it's come, what they've done for ease of use of the game, the way the game plays, streamlining it, but also new features. And the first thing I noticed is it pretty much looks the exact same, but the controls are horrendous on console. I have no problem navigating a controller. I'm very comfortable on them. And first person shooters, all that shit, it's all good. So there's nothing on really my end. The game just feels very sluggish in the way that the analogs feel, but also feels super over encumbered. I know everybody knows fucking how that feels in games. In the way that the buttons are used to use all the functions in the game, it feels super clunky. So between the way the game plays, the way I feel when I move, and navigating the menus that even when you get them down don't feel good, it feels like a misfire. And it's not necessarily a huge detriment, but it's enough to make me just want to go play it on PC. Honestly, that's where I was at when I was playing. I was like, I honestly for a split second was like, should I just go play this on PC and then just talk about my experience there? I'm like, nah, that's not what we do on Plus Club. So I played it on there so I could talk about it, and that's what I'm doing. Outside of my biggest problem with the game, which is the controls and the way it feels and the UI and shit on console, which is completely different on console than it is on PC. The game is pretty much exactly how I remembered it. I went onto an island. I climbed some trees. I got some coconuts. I shit myself. I drank a lot of liquids. I kept drinking liquids. I killed crabs. I ate food. I built, shelters and fires, and all that stuff was pretty fun. But the novelty of when this game first came out has kind of faded for me, and the island aesthetic didn't do much for me anymore. It's cool looking. I like it visually. And traversing from island to island is still fun and feels risky because you're kind of abandoning everything you obtained on one island, bringing some stuff with you, and moving on to the next to see what happens there. I think there's a really cool dynamic to that. But I started feeling bored pretty quickly playing this, which kind of sucks because I really like survival games. So this game has a lot of stuff going on that I enjoy, but there was no element to it that I was really finding myself compelled to keep playing. Clunky experience, survival stuff that is not really new and fresh anymore. It's, it works, it's fine, but there's other games out there that I'd rather play survival-wise nowadays. I found myself overall just kind of not interested in playing it any further, but also wanting to abandon it and go play on PC, possibly where I could maybe play multiplayer, which is the way I would like to play this game. I think it'd be a lot more fun to play with somebody else or other people. I don't know how many people you can play with on an island. Maybe have someone go out to a different island while you stay at this island, or explore together on a raft. Sounds a lot of fun. So I'm glad overall this game is on console. It's awesome if you're only on console and you want to play Stranded Deep and it's there, or it is there. You have that option and it's completely functional. It works just fine. But if you played it on PC and you're moving over to this, it does feel like a downgrade in some ways, and specifically with the multiplayer. It wasn't a bad experience, but it wasn't great either. It's probably, out of all the games I played this month, and I played the games quite a bit, I played this one the least, I think. But it was fun enough. Just couldn't find anything compelling enough to get me to come back and play it further. So it's pretty much where I'm at with Stranded Deep.
Yeah. I'm gonna beat the dead horse here and say that the controls were clunky. So I'm just gonna get that out of the way. I was kind of hesitant to play this game anyways because I don't enjoy any game that makes me have to be in the water a lot, and this game really wants you to be in the water. I, for transparency's sake, turned off hostile monsters when I played.
I didn't know you could do that.
Because I just wanted to try the survival aspect of the game. And for me, the biggest struggle, like you guys have kind of mentioned, is staying hydrated and gathering whatever the rope material is you need for everything. Twine, I think you said.
Twine, baby, twine.
Huge headache. I was managing fine, but I found that my big struggle was constantly water. I was never hungry, so that food management was really easy, but yeah, your character just gets thirsty super fast. And the other thing that was super frustrating for me is you need aloe when you're in the sun too much, but standing in the shade doesn't cool you down, which doesn't make sense to me. It's like, if you're gonna go through the trouble of having a heat system, why can't I stand in the shade? So
it's a fair point. There's a newer survival game that you're in the desert and you're essentially trying to find oases to survive in, and it has a heat system where even when you stand in water, you cool down, but once you leave the water, you start heating up again. If you stand in shade or bushes, you cool down.
Yeah, I tried standing in the water. I tried being in the shade, and it's just like, yeah, you're too warm. I'm like, okay, so I have to have aloe, and there's no more plants here, so you're making me go wander to get more. So
it's a spicy island.
Yeah, so I mean, really, to not really drag this out, because honestly, I kind of agree with everything you guys said, and the game had like some pretty decent ideas, and it had really really good material crafting system. That's what I'm after. The crafting system I liked. Inventory management was kind of a headache, but I have a feeling that has to do with the controller as well. I found just putting everything on the ground in one spot and standing there and just crafting there was the best option.
Oh, I did that on PC too.
Yeah,
I just make
until I found a chest,
but
because I dove into a crashed ship and took a chest out of there and started using it as storage. But
Which is one of my favorite parts of the game is when you go underwater and you're checking like wreckage and shit.
Which I find neat and all, but I hate being underwater in games. So it's a huge turn off for me. And then everything being islands, I was just like, yeah.
You would love Subnautica.
Yeah, I'm never playing that. I watched them play it the other day. So I'm just like, nope, not playing this game. Does not look fun to me. So, which sucks because I actually, like you, I enjoy survival games. It is harder for me because a lot of them focus on...
I just wish more survival games were accessible for you because most of them focus on monster shit.
Well, funny because the monster thing's not even the huge hurdle for me because I can get past that in a multiplayer setting. It's all of them really focus on PvP, and I really don't want to fucking I don't need that in there.
Yeah, I've always since back in the day wanted to play DayZ with you, but between that game is fucking kind of scary nowadays. Probably not so much, but it's super dark and there's zombies and shit, but like people was horrifying.
Yeah, the people aspect is what throws me off. It's why I won't play things like Rust. It's why I won't play...
you don't want to play Rust anyway.
Well, sure, game. But that's like the main factor for me.
Barely a survival game.
That's why I don't play even as simple as like Minecraft. I won't play on a public server. Are you kidding me?
I wouldn't either,
People
dude.
are assholes.
Don't fucking touch my shit.
So that being said, there was some features there that kind of tickled the right part of my monkey brain for survival games, but it got overpowered by the parts of the game which just weren't fun. So, which at the end of the day is a game, and I need to be able to enjoy it. So,
I need to find a survival game you can play. It's not like Minecraft. You can maybe play Green Hell.
I'll say I like Conan and Dinosaur one, Ark, as well. So,
yeah, but those games are survival games, kind of like at the beginning they're survival games, and they turn to like these crazy fucking RPGs or sci-fi dinosaur shooters.
Sure, once you conquer the
Ark's Turok.
I mean, it's the same problem with Minecraft. Once you automate everything, it just turns into you making stupid mistakes.
Whereas like in DayZ, like you can get all geared up and shit. You can get a helicopter. You could have like a machine gun and stuff. You still have limited ammo no matter what though. And fucking somebody with a pistol could pop you right in the head and take everything that you got.
Yeah.
So there's always a risk. You're never at the point where you're like, I have superpowers and my HP is this high and shit. So it's something I love about that game. Yeah. Anything else?
No, I mean, if they fix controls, I think they'd probably have a better game there
I think
on
it's the
console.
biggest problem.
I think, it's absolutely the biggest problem. Some of the problems I had were personal problems. So
as soon as the game started, I was on the raft. I was like looking around sluggishly on the fucking raft, and like I was trying to grab things, but you had to like be pinpoint accurate, and it's all clunky feeling stuff. I'm like, whew, I need a mouse. Holy shit.
I mean, it was a good looking game though. I'll give them that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's clean for sure. So should we jump into recommendations?
Sure.
I'd recommend this to pretty much anybody that somehow never played it if you're into survival games. If you're into survival games, I think it's a must play. I think you should most likely, if you can, play it on PC. But if you can't, it's completely serviceable, works fine, looks great, plays fine-ish on console. It's not like you're not gonna have a harder time, I guess, playing the game just because you're playing a controller. You're just gonna have to get used to it. So yeah, good survival game. If you like the idea of being stranded on an island, so I guess survival game, but a very specific thing that games don't really touch on. Maybe you played Survival Kids like me when you were younger on Game Boy, and you're like, I want a game where I'm surviving on an island. This is something like that. If you like games for exploration, you like finding like a ship that's sunk and you want to like go check it out, but at the risk of having a shark climb up your ass, or like finding new islands. You're like, what's on that island? What's over here? What's there? This has that. On console, not so much. Possibly, maybe. Let me know in the comments if you like cooperative survival. You can do that somewhere, I hear. So check that out. I really need to get that clarified. And coconuts. If you like climbing trees for coconuts in games, you don't feel like games represent that enough, this game's got you covered.
Skinning them and cracking them in half and turning them into water bottles.
And dealing with the ramifications of having too many coconuts.
Whether that's eating or drinking.
Yeah. Because there's consequences. The devil's in the details. Always remember. Recommendations?
I think I just kind of want to hammer in on if you like the theme, I think that's going to be the biggest selling point for this game.
Yeah.
If you like the idea of surviving on islands and having to
Rafts.
be in the water a lot. Otherwise, it's a dime a dozen in the genre. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would recommend this if you're looking for a game that's not going to hold your hand, even in the slightest. Like, if you were to a people, it would be 6 feet away from you, shouting at you. In that sense, like, the tutorials are very minimal when you start the game. It tells you basically how to pick things up and how to put things down, and then even the crafting menu doesn't even tell you what the things are that you're crafting half the time. Like, it'll say the name of them, but then it doesn't tell you what they do or what they're used for. So, if you're looking for something that just you need to be like, either have a wiki handy, or you just want to explore and build things and just kind of like figure out on yourself, this is definitely something you would enjoy.
Yeah, there's one part where it's like, find this plant. I'm like, what does it look like? It's like, just find it. I'm like, okay. So I'm like running in the bushes, like looking at each plant and stuff, and I'd highlight it, and finally I found the one of 2 on the whole island. I was like, oh, there it is.
It was like aloe for me. I had 2 on my island. I was like, cool.
Yeah, she's like, go find it. I'm like, okay. Guess I will. Guess that's better than no one telling me to find aloe. Yeah. Anything else?
No.
All right, let's grade it. I'll grade it first. I'm going to give it... I want to give the game itself a B-, but on console, I feel like I'm going to give it a C+. Just because, and it's maybe sounds a little harsh, but I do like this game. I didn't want to play it when I played it on console. I didn't want to play it any further. I was like, I played it enough to kind of get the idea. I've played it before. I was like, this isn't where I want to play this game. I'm not enjoying this experience here. So for this experience in this month, for this game on what I played it on, which was PS5, I'm going to give it a C+. Let's go with Chevy.
I'm going to echo that. I think it is with some pretty, I say simple, but I don't make games, so who knows. But some simple fixes, I think it could easily be a B game because it has a lot. It has a lot there, actually.
It's a good game.
Yeah.
Like, I've played it before. I like the game. Just here, I'm just like, whew.
There's just some nitpicky things that pile up to an experience that honestly, I would rather just go play another game in the genre. So it just kind of pushes it down to C+, I think.
Chris.
Well, I'm going to be the bitchy one, apparently. Because the controls were so bad on PS4, and because they're so pinpoint accurate necessities required to picking up things and interacting with things, it made the game extremely frustrating. So on console, I'm going to give this a C-, like a very weak C-, because the controls are so bad. PC, I have no problem with that. I'd be the same range as you guys, but because the controls are so horrid on a controller, it's a C- for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That's not even that bad, really. I thought you were going to go even lower, but...
I almost did. It's a weak C-, strong D+.
Fair. And yeah, that makes sense to me. It just sucks because I've played it before and I like this game, so it's hard for me to even humor giving it a C anything. But I didn't want to play it.
Yep.
So 2 C+ and a C-. Anything else you guys want to say? Mm-mm. We said a lot more than I thought we were going to on that game. So let's know in the comments, what do you guys think of Stranded Deep? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Have you not played it? Why haven't you played it? When it comes to survival games, where do you think it stacks up with other ones? Have you played on PC and console? Do you agree with where we're coming from? Or do you like it on console? Or do you prefer it on PC? You won't touch it on there. What's your favorite thing about Stranded Deep? And are you a fan of The Forest? Is that game made by the same people? Pretty sure it is. Let me know everything you're thinking about in the comments below. When it comes to Stranded Deep. The other game we played this month was Wreckfest, which I believe was a PS5 only game, so Chris will not get to talk about this one too much, but I am going to ask him a question about it in a sec. Before that, though, if you didn't get a chance to play Wreckfest, it is a racing / destruction derby game that emphasizes crashing into stuff and things and people. It has soft body physics on the cars, so as you drive into things, your car will dent in and morph and break apart and drive funny. The game has a wealth of different activities to do, from destruction derbies to events where you're driving in figure eights, racing each other while crossing other people driving and hitting each other, to couch racing, lawnmowers, combines doing destruction derbies, traditional racing where it absolutely emphasizes driving into people and crashing into them and knocking them into shit so you don't have competition. And it's a pretty robust game in what it offers. We both played it, but before we talk about our impressions of it, Chris, did you have any interest in Wreckfest? Have you played it in the past? Do you know much about it? Any opinions on it at all?
I knew nothing about it, but from hearing what you said, it sounds like my redneck childhood all over again. Just lawnmower races and couch races and destruction derbies and shit like that.
I want to see you do some couch races. It's funny in this game, you're just literally sitting on a couch, and there's like a muffler on the back of the couch and 2 wheels, and everybody's just driving, and when you hit people, they just go
like shit.
They just go flying off the couch and shit. It's ridiculous. I was so happy when I saw it. I'm like, fuck yeah, these guys don't give a shit. They're doing what they want. I'm here for it. I love it. So yeah, anything else? Just reminds you of that?
It reminds me of that, but I don't have much interest in reliving that.
Yeah. Fair. Chevy, give me your impressions of fucking Wreckfest. I'm such stranded deep. I won't talk about that again.
Well, let's just rewind and do it all over again. No, I actually had zero expectations for this game because I just came out of left field for me, I guess. So I went into it completely blind and actually a little hesitant because I don't like most vehicle games. I will happily say that I had fun playing this game. So it doesn't take itself too seriously, but it does absolutely take serious what it wants to do. I don't know if it makes a lot of sense, but
it makes complete sense to me.
It wants to be a destruction game and it wants to do it well, and I feel like it really does. One of the first things you do is a destruction derby, and my car was so mangled and I was almost kicked out in that first race, and my car was driving so awful and like drifting to the left constantly. By the time I was done, I was like, that was really neat that like my car literally went from just fine to like I was having this epic slow motion battle with this other messed up car for first place by the end of it. So
in a field of just dead
cars, yeah. So it was a fun experience. Probably my favorite part of the game was the destruction derby aspect.
And the character models ragdoll out of the cars and shit too.
I didn't see that.
You didn't? Mm-mm. Holy fuck! Especially on the couches, on the
lawnmowers.
You hit people and just go. Whew.
But not in the cars. Yeah, sorry.
And there's a lot more objects for them to have to fly out of.
Right.
So probably less often.
Game has full vehicle customization as well. So you pick like the type of car, the type of armor, how much horsepower you want to put into it, how much handling you want to put into it, et cetera, et cetera. So you can really kind of fine tune different vehicles for different things, like the destruction derby, normal races, like I don't know how to word this, like Hitman style races where you get targets that you have to try to take out while you're racing and trying to get first place still. The weird like lawnmower and couch racing stuff. My least favorite part of the game actually would probably be the racing, which they do have a lot of, unfortunately for me. I still did it. It was still fun, but I get really frustrated when I'm trying to pass people and the game's incentivizing destruction, and I'm just stuck in between a bunch of people. I'm like, I can't pass.
Did you do the race where you drive this like little 3-wheeled bus and there's all these huge like school buses you're racing against?
I quit right. I unlocked it, but I didn't do it.
Horrifying.
Yeah, you're supposed to escape the stampede of buses.
Yeah, there's all these buses just slamming into each other and they're like flying around shit and all these physics, and I'm just driving this little fucking 3-wheeled bus just between them. I'm like, oh. Yeah. It was pretty cool.
It has an old school system of like, it just gives you a collection of stuff you can do, but you just need X amount of points to unlock the next bracket. So you can choose the activities.
Still very typical of a lot of racing games, even Dirt 5s like that.
Mm-hmm. Which I appreciate, because then it's kind of like a make your own meal type of thing to progress in the game.
Yeah, there is a way to progress further into the game, but you can kind of do it the way you want. So you're feeling this, you're feeling that, do this, do that. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so if you don't feel like doing a 3-race endurance series, you can do like a destruction derby, a single race, and this challenge over here, for example. So.
It's really popular in racing games nowadays. It's just to give you a plate of different types of events, and then you just pick what you want, and you can do them all, which I do, but you can also do enough of them to get enough points to move on to the next tournament.
Yeah.
Or section of the game.
I think it's smart. It offers choice in that regard. Then
makes those games really easy, like to come home from work and just play for a little bit. You're just enjoying the racing and you're progressing however the fuck you want.
Right.
It's a really good system.
For sure. So yeah, I mean, other than that, other than my personal distaste for like the racing part, because I'm trying to like actually race and the game doesn't want you to, essentially. Like that's the point, but it's also trying to make it really difficult for you. So
one thing I want to throw out there when it comes to the racing aspect, this game has surprisingly really good physics for the cars outside of the crashing. Not even just the crashing, but like the way the cars move and feel. There is an aspect to the racing that feels good, but there's also an emphasis on like if someone passes you and you're coming up on a turn, to just slam the fuck into them and like throw them off the road.
Yeah.
But there's these heavy physics to it that aren't like Burnout where you just hit them and they go flying into a pole and blow up. In this, like you hit them and like you see the back of the car dent in and they're
an
out.
object. Yeah.
And it does have, it's not just all about the crashing, which 100% it's like a huge factor, but the racing is legit and the AI is actually pretty decent too, especially when you turn it up. It gets intelligent.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because I was trying to pass a guy, for example, and I was drafting him. And as we went around a corner and went to pass him, he literally intentionally was trying to like hit my nose to move to crash me. And I was like, you motherfucker.
They'll try and hit you. Not in a way that a lot of games like fucking Forza for a long time, the AI just didn't know you existed.
They have a set course.
So they'll just drive into you. And it's not like they're like, oh, I'm going to take this guy out. They're just like, oh, I'm just going to drive here.
You're in my spot.
No, I'm here. And it's like, no, I'm here. And it's like, no. And you're just like crashing each other. Like, get the fuck off me. This is a professional race. This would never happen in real life. In this game, like you can see the guy coming up on you, and you see him get in position to fucking try and hit you, and you're like, oh shit. So
yeah, it's pretty impressive.
They did a good job with that.
And that comes also earlier when I said getting boxed in, like trying to get out of the pack. It's probably one of the hardest things to do in this game because you have all these people that are trying to wreck each other, and you end up just this square of metal that no one can move, and so you can't race either.
And again, another note on the AI is in a lot of games when you get boxed in, it's like the AI just is all stuck and they're all just trying to go and drive at the same time. In this, it feels like the cars are all trying to get out of the box too, though.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people swerving and hitting each other and trying to get out of there. So they did a really good job with the AI. It's tricky to do AI for racing games because you get a lot of games. It's just like, okay, make the AI go from point A to point B. They want to win. They're going to try and pass you. Sometimes they try not to collide with you. Sometimes games don't give a fuck about that. This game, the AI, especially as you turn it up, does start to make decisions you see that make the races interesting. And it's very impressive. Not just for derby games, for racing games in general.
Yeah, I mean, even during the couch racing, I went to go around a corner and one of the guys literally just got in front of me. And they just stayed there to block me. And I was just like, I tried to go around and he just would get in front of me constantly.
Couch is a great way to block somebody driving a couch.
Takes up so much of the road. So overall, yeah, I had a fun time. It has a lot of options. It has really good wreck physics. I like the weight that is in the vehicles, especially in the destruction derby part. You could be just flying, and if you hit a pile of dead cars, you're stopping and screwing up your car. So.
I love physics in games, but I love heavy physics because it makes you appreciate when something crazy happens. So in a game that you like shoot an enemy and they always flail around and shit or go flying, it's funny at first, but then it's just normal. Whereas in a game where they got like heavier weight, if they do go flying, you get an emphasis on how fucking intense whatever just happened. Same thing with this. Some games like Burnout, and I love Burnout. I'm not talking shit about Burnout, but I wish they would make a new one. It's arcadey in the sense of like wrecking people. Whereas in this, there's a lot of work put into the weight of the physics, but also the soft body physics that meshes into the system of like if a car does go rolling or tumbling off, something hit it in just the right way that it lifted the car and rolled. And like when you do hit stuff, you do feel a sense of like slowing down because like maybe your tires dented in or you got enough people pushing against each other that the physics are done very well, like impressively well.
Yeah, no. Is it something I can play all the time? No, I have to be in the mood for it. But I honestly think I'll probably keep it installed. So
cool. Pretty much going to echo everything you just said, but also add, I love Wreckfest. I played it on PC. I got one of those nice fucking resistance wheels. I was like, I need a game to play with this, and that was one of the games I bought among many others. But really enjoyed it there. Playing it on PS5, was very delighted to see that the game looks fantastic, plays fantastic, at a good FPS, has all the same features, of course, and it's just a blast to play. The variety of types of matches you go into, whether it's racing or derby, is good. It's never boring. I always have something new to do. They also mix it up with the type of things you're driving or situations where you're driving something and everybody else is driving other things.
Yeah, weird scenarios.
That makes it very interesting. You see the couch and you're like, oh, fuck, they're going there. Okay, that's cool. Or the combines, all these huge fucking giant tractor type vehicles just driving into each other. They're easy to tip over because they're so tall. Really cool stuff. The physics are really good, not just for gameplay but just as tech. It's impressive. The soft body physics are really good. They're not too soft. Some games try to do soft body physics and they just crumple really easy. In this, it's got a really good balance. They did a really good job here. The AI for the other players, very good. Like really good. Very impressed with that. And the game looks really good on PS5. Good graphics. The racing is really fun. I really enjoy it. I do like racing, so I can play it and get that feeling of playing a decent racing game. It's arcadey, but not too arcadey too, which is kind of interesting. It's I kind of expected it. If you put it on, I think it defaults to a lot of the controls being kind of like easy mode. And so your car drives pretty smooth. But if you turn on like medium, which I did, you start to get a little more of those physics of like sliding out from behind and stuff like that when you're turning too hard, which I really dig. I tried to play the multiplayer. I couldn't find anyone playing it. So I think that might be on my end because I feel like if it just came out on PlayStation Plus, there would be people playing it.
yeah,
But I couldn't get into a game, so I didn't get to try the multiplayer. And yeah, I customized the vehicles, upgraded them, which is fun, bought new vehicles. I played this earlier in the month. This is one of those months where I played every game, like right on the first day, just to get it kind of knocked out. I played Wreckfest then for like 5 hours straight, just enjoying myself. And then the other day, I was just listening to a podcast and played it for like 12 hours straight. I just sat there and just played it. It was just like fucking, it was like on the weekend. I wasn't doing shit. I just like played it. No, it was during the week that I fucking was not going to work. And I just fucking played it while listening. It was like the perfect mix of listening, catching up on all my podcasts and just mindlessly driving into shit and enjoying myself and unlocking stuff, progressing. It was perfect. It was a good time, honestly. So I don't really have a lot to add. I think Wreckfest is fucking dope. I think in terms of like destruction derby type games, which is very niche, it's probably the best. If there's a better one, please let me know. And it's a great racing game. It's good across the fucking board. I really like the game.
Yeah.
So that's all I got. Jump into recommendations.
Sure.
If you like racing games, if you like soft body physic car games, if you like destruction derby games, if you like off-road games, if you like games where you can be aggressive towards other people, maybe even party games. Destruction derby is kind of like a party game where you're just driving into each other and see who can survive. Multiplayer games where you get to unlock and upgrade vehicles, buy new vehicles, stuff like that. Arcade racers, even sim racers, you might dig this if you turn off all the assistant stuff. Yeah, I think that's games with physics. If you're a fan of physics in games, this game's got plenty of them. And if you can appreciate and look for games where they do interesting things with AI when it comes to enemies, this is definitely a game to check out.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can really add to that is if you kind of miss the days of people making car games for the sake of fun instead
Just
of
ridiculous,
realism.
yeah.
Even though it definitely leans towards realism when it comes to like the car stuff itself.
But it allows you to drive couches.
Yeah,
So it's like,
yeah.
fuck that. Let's have fun.
If you miss that era of gaming, this is it definitely harkens back to that. So
Definitely. I'm going to let you grade it first.
hey, I can't think of anything that the game does wrong. I have some personal issues, but that's always the case, it seems. So I'm gonna give it an A-.
That's funny because I was also going to give it an A-. I was gonna make a joke about you guys ready. Fucking, I'm about to go big. And then you said A-. I'm like, okay, well, I guess it translates because I feel the exact same. It's a solid game. I can't think of anything bad about it.
Yeah.
Unless you just don't like this kind of game.
For sure.
It's solid. It's the best in its genre. It's a very small genre, but it's the best, and it's done very well in every aspect. It's a legit game. It looks great, plays great, has awesome features. It's fun to play, which is the most important part of it.
Yeah, that's the big factor. I think it's just fun.
And I'd like to go higher than A-, I guess, but I don't feel passionate about it. I just I think the game's fucking dope. It's really good. So
it's not game of the year or anything.
No,
right?
yeah, but it's a legit game.
For sure.
It's if you looked at it and went, I don't know, it looks kind of interesting, just play it. Especially if you could get it on PlayStation Plus. That's who I'll recommend it to. If you just looked at it and you're kind of interested in it, play it. Yeah, A-. That's cool. I didn't think you were gonna give it A-. Yeah, so let us know in the comments what do you guys think about Wreckfest. Did you play it? Did you not play it? If you have played it, what do you like about it? What do you not like about it? Would you give it an A-? Did you think maybe it's a little high? Maybe you give it something lower? Is there other Destruction Derby games out that are worth playing or possibly better than this? I can't really imagine that. And yeah, let me know everything you're thinking about when it comes to Wreckfest in the comments below. Last game we played this month was Battlefield 5, which I hope you know what that is. It is it's Battlefield. Battlefield is a game, it's a first-person shooter that has to do with big team battles. This one takes place in World War II, so a lot of the game is you running around huge maps, capturing points, fighting other people on foot, and also tanks and planes with gorgeous, beautiful graphics. And it has a single-player-esque kind of thing. It's got like 4 little missions you can do that have stories, and has a cooperative mode. But it's Battlefield, so its bread and butter is the big team battles. We all played it, and I kind of want to know Chevy's impressions of Battlefield 5.
Okay. I didn't touch single player because it's Battlefield. Why would I? So, which is probably not a good thing that it's not even being considered.
Let's get it out of the way though. The game, for fucking some reason, starts out and just makes you play the first scenario.
Yeah.
I quit out of it instantly.
Same, yeah.
Chris, did you play it?
I played it for a little bit, and then I quit out once everybody was online.
Yeah, okay. Because every time I played this game with anybody who hadn't played it yet, we'd be waiting. They're like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And like everybody had the same reaction. They're like, "What is this?" I'm like, "It's weird that the game just makes you play that."
Yeah, it's a weird decision.
For anybody who doesn't know, right in the beginning of the game, as soon as you start it, there is no menu. It just starts you in this kind of cinematic kind of gameplay intro to Battlefield that kind of goes from location to location, year by year of World War II, kind of while this dude who has a very Hollywood sounding fucking voice kind of reads this thing about war and kind of just shows you this fucking buffet of what to expect in Battlefield.
Yeah, don't do that again.
5, and then it just says Battlefield 5, and then it puts you in the menu, and I was like, that was not even a tutorial. That was just like you walk in a place like, let me give you the tour. It's like, no, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, menu first next time.
Yeah.
So
anyway, sorry.
No, it's fine. It's worth bringing up. I actually forgot about it. So, yeah. So don't do that again, please. Let's see. we did the co-op mode first, and I honestly don't have strong feelings one way or another for it. It is pretty meh all around. It's serviceable. So if you really just need a co-op experience in Battlefield, it has it. So
it feels tacked on like Battlefront's co-op mode, but a little more realized than Battlefront 2's.
Yeah, there's no passion behind it at all. So.
They both feel tacked on.
Yeah. So I don't think I would recommend buying the game for that mode, but it does exist if you need a break from the multiplayer. And then I played the multiplayer with a group of us, and
so I'll just say led by the best squad leader ever, but you were barely in my squad.
Yeah, I was pretty much by myself most of the time.
Because if you're on my squad, we get shit fucking done.
So I guess it's hard for me to have a lot to say because Battlefield's the same like all the time, right? So like it feels like Battlefield still. Like
I wish every time the game was coming out that was their advertising. Battlefield's the same every time.
I mean, really, I didn't really feel like I was playing something super different. There were some changes that I don't necessarily know how I feel about. I can't remember any of them right now off the top of my head, but the class system seems weird for some reason in this one. I can't put my finger on it. I don't feel like... I guess what I'm used to is like in Battlefield 3 and 4, for example, right? When you play the engineer, you have the wrench, you go up, you know what your job is, type of deal. And I never felt like, no matter what I played, my job really mattered in this game. I just felt like I was a guy with a gun. Which is kind of weird because even as the medic, like I was doing it, but it was such a passive thing instead of it didn't really feel like something I really had to like seek out to do.
Two things. First off, as you play a class, you'll unlock subclasses for them that have different perks. So, for instance, the medic has a move that if you use your ping button on a dude who's on the ground, you'll yell to them, and that will give you a boost in your run speed. So the base medic is meant to get people back up quickly.
Yeah.
But then you unlock another medic version that is more like he runs fast and he can melee from a further distance. So he's more of like a get in there and fucking murder people type dude. And the other classes do that as well. So I think because they tried to do this fucking almost Call of Duty feeling thing, they try to make these specializations, soft specializations. It does feel kind of cloudy on, well, everybody can get somebody up, but the medic can get them up faster, but everybody can get somebody up. Like it just kind of feels like that. And the second thing is they streamlined a lot of the things that I kind of like, but kind of don't like because it's made the pace of the combat faster. It feels better streamlined wise, but it makes combat feel less slow paced in the sense of like you just run up and press a button and get someone up now, whereas before you had to pull out your fucking like syringe or something. There's a whole thing you had to pull it out, run up,
or whatever,
defib, all this shit. And I get why you would streamline it. It makes it simpler, it makes it easier. You just run up and hold square. It takes one step away from it, but all those little steps that they're trying to get rid of is things that made Battlefield feel more like an operation and less like Call of Duty.
Exactly.
So.
And maybe that's a little bit of a turnoff for me because I don't play Call of Duty, so I do generally enjoy Battlefield, right? And I think it is because of the slower pace and because of the more team focused gameplay. Is one of the few like PvP games that I can play and not be so focused on the fact that I'm playing a PvP game. So I did not have that experience when I played this one. I felt the whole time that I was playing a versus game. And yeah, and again, I can't really put my finger on it because I don't pay a lot of attention when I'm playing shooters to like all the little final details. It's not generally my genre. So, I had an okay time. A lot of my frustrations too, personal problem, not the game's fault. I think the controller is garbage for playing shooters. So, I couldn't hit anything, and that added to my frustration. So.
Got practice.
Yeah, but I don't want to. Is the thing. I have a place where I'm comfortable, and I'm going to play there. So obviously, I played out of the priority of it. But if I'm going to play Battlefield, I'm going to play it on a keyboard and mouse, and I'll have a better time. So it was okay. That's all I can really say. I had an okay time. There was some some things I enjoyed about it, which are all the typical Battlefield things, like having the squads, getting bonuses for taking checkpoints that you've clicked on, stuff like that. I enjoy all that. But
Nobody fucking does.
But
Nobody does it. That's why I play medic, because nobody fucking heals people, and I play squad leader because nobody fucking points out where we're going and gets those extra points for capturing.
no, because they're all too
And they don't
focused on killing.
communicate shit either. Fucking, I'm talking all day.
And I feel the streamlining is adding to that, to the feeling of like just trying to get kills instead of doing the co-op stuff. So
Yeah, which has always been a struggle for Battlefield. I mean, any objective-based game mode in any FPS ever has
sure.
been the bane of my fucking existence. But Battlefield, you run into the people who want to play the game. They're playing Battlefield. They know what game they're playing. And then you have the other people who, for some reason, don't know what game they bought, and they think they're playing Call of Duty. Which, you know, if you want to lose all day, yeah, go get those kills.
yeah,
Drives me fucking crazy.
yeah, that's pretty much it for me though.
Chris.
I am also not a very big fan of FPSs, much like Chevy, and in the same way, I could not distinguish this from other Battlefield games for you, to be honest. It didn't feel like anything really super different to me. I had a few gripes here and there, but mostly because I'm not a veteran of these games. So like picking up guns, I didn't know what they were. They just had the names of them, so I was just like, "What the fuck is this gun? What does this do? How does this gun work? Is this a shotgun? Is this a sniper rifle? I don't know. It just says A1459276 beta, like whatever the fuck that is." So I usually didn't swap guns. I just kind of had my gun, and if I went down and picked up another gun, I just kind of went with it because like whatever. I don't fucking know what I'm doing. I also had a problem with the load times. They are atrocious in this game on PS4. Like
They're kind of slow on PS5 too.
Yeah,
I couldn't get. I was just so over how long it took everything to fucking load in this game. It just was too much. And I get it, there's a lot of people on a server. There's a lot of things to connect and cross play and things like that. There's a lot of systems to work out, but it just seems a bit excessive. I did play a bit of the single player campaign, which I didn't dislike, but that's because I could take it at a slower pace and I could sneak around and I could get good cover and just like snipe people from a distance. Whereas with the multiplayer, it's a madhouse. It's a fucking madhouse the whole time. You're running around screaming, I was putting up barricades fucking everywhere. That's the one thing I really like about this is you can barricade a building up pretty sound. I came across one of the objective points, and the enemy team had barricaded every single entrance, so I couldn't get in except for one point, which is a really cool idea, just to like kind of fortify and hunker down. And they had a tank patrolling the outside. There was one guy inside guarding the base, and there was a tank running around the outside. So it was a fucking task and a half to get in there.
Yeah, that's a new system too. The whole sandbag thing, which we talked about when we were playing, and like I'm glad you liked it. I could go either way with it. If it's not in the next game, I won't care. But if it is in the next game, I won't care. So
I ain't trying to play Fortnite.
I felt, yeah, I never did it, but other people doing it, I was like, that's cool if you want to do that. But it's funny, I'm just indifferent to it. I didn't dislike it or like it. I was just like, whatever.
Yeah, I didn't care either way either.
Yeah.
Every time we would attack an objective, I would feel the need to just turtle. So I would just like sit there in a corner and just build around me just this little sandbag box, so I could felt safe and secure.
I mean, that's totally fine. The one thing that I will give Battlefield as a series is, just sitting somewhere it is beneficial.
If you're doing something
yeah,
towards an objective,
yeah,
it's beneficial always.
Yeah.
Is the people who aren't doing anything or just trying to get kills, a lot of times they're not doing that. They're trying, but they're not doing it. Those people are wasting time, and they're wasting tickets because they're dying. Yeah, I mean, that's a game that just sitting still for a while, which a lot of people are like, whoa, camping, blah, blah. No, it's holding the position. It's important. If they can't take the position, we're getting points. So, yeah, it's a game that you can kind of play to a lot of different ways. And it's a game that you've been able to hop into over the years because it's not reliant on you having to run in and murder people to win. You can just, move towards the objective and hold it or take
or
it.
sabotage the vehicles.
Sabotage or repair vehicles or fucking build now sandbags. All these different things that are all working towards the greater goal, which is definitely something that Battlefield does well. even though they keep trying to slowly slither towards fucking Call of Duty in its gameplay. It's like, no, you gotta own what you do. This is the reason I fucking play Battlefield. I don't need to be Call of Duty. Call of Duty's Call of Duty.
I like the concept behind the gameplay of being, tactical and methodical about how you, go about this warfare. But in practice with the audience, it just doesn't happen. And it's very frustrating. And I got invited to play again a couple other times after we all played, and I just turned it down every time. No desire to play this game again, just because of the madhouse that it ended up being at the end. I'm not looking for that.
You should have played Hardline. I hated that game. Battlefield Hardline. It's this weird offshoot they tried where it's cops and robbers. That game was a fucking clusterfuck. Because it was trying to be like in the suburbs and like bank heists and stuff, but it's Battlefield, so there's just people everywhere running around, just cops and robbers. It's like there should never be this many cops and robbers anywhere. This is a war that's happening. This isn't some team coming in.
The FBI versus the mob.
Yeah, I was like, this is just a straight up fucking turf war happening in the streets. These are crooked cops fighting against the cartel. I mean, like, it's ridiculous. God, that game was a misstep. Anything else?
No.
All right, so Battlefield 5 is a game that I swore off. I never wanted to buy it, which is weird because I'm a huge Battlefield fan. I like almost every single, although I just kind of revealed myself with Hardline, I like almost every single Battlefield from fucking 1942, 2142 that fucking nobody played for some reason, which is one of the best Battlefields, all the way up to this one. I've pretty much bought every single one of them. I played every single one of them. I love Battlefield. If you ask me what's better, Call of Duty or Battlefield, I like both of them. I'm not in on that. They both have their strengths.
They're different games.
Yeah, they're different games, and they need to stay different games. Battlefield has its strengths. It's never going to sell as well as Call of Duty. It's fine. It sells well enough for a game. Doesn't need to be Call of Duty. Anyway, Battlefield 5 came out. I didn't like how the devs and the PR essentially handled the controversial stuff I'm not going to talk about. I don't like the way they handled it, trying to essentially tell people, go fuck yourself. I thought that was a really dumb thing to do. And because of that, I didn't swear off Battlefield, but I did swear off Battlefield 5. I said I wouldn't buy this game. I didn't want to support it if they're going to be that way with their fan base. So I got it for free, so I got to play it. And overall, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I liked it. For Battlefield, it's probably one of my least favorite, though, which is kind of shitty because it's the newest one. It's World War II, which I'm a huge World War II buff. I love history. I love World War II. A lot of people are like, I'm sick of World War II games. I'm like, we've gotten like 3 in the last 10 years, and mainstream AAA ones, of course. There's Verdun and shit on PC, but and none of them have been done well. So really, I get where you're coming from when you say you're sick of them, but there's not very many of them. I would say, and maybe possibly correct you in saying, I'd like a good World War II shooter, but everybody keeps making these like Call of Duty World War II, which is awful, and fucking this, which is like whatever games. So it's kind of disappointing. Things I do like about this game, it's on Frostbite, so it's fucking amazing looking. It's beautiful. The graphics are crisp and detailed. The animations are pretty decent, even though they do kind of look robotic sometimes. The lighting's amazing. The destruction's fucking amazing. The smoke effects are amazing. This game is just gorgeous to look at. So that's good. The maps are big, varied, and interesting enough. It is kind of a weakness, though. I don't think any of the maps are particularly that cool, which is kind of a bummer. Battlefield 3 had great maps. Battlefield 2142 had great maps. Battlefield 4 had pretty good maps.
Too many vehicles.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the vehicle dense maps, but that is the Battlefield experience. And yeah, this game didn't have a whole lot of memorable maps, particularly or more so specifically coming from Battlefield 1. Yes, I am somebody who likes Battlefield 1. I know there's people out there who hated that game. I thought Battlefield 1 was fucking great. Battlefield 1 had crazy fucking cool maps that were just like, they felt like you were seeing the absolute devastation of World War One and the chaos of like back then there's no rules to the wars this size and shit. So like the people just laid waste to fucking forests, mountains, cities, everything's just fucking decimated. And you got that sense of just like, is almost like creepy how fucked up everything was in that game. And just the visual styling of it, the music was phenomenal.
Yeah.
So fucking good. And then you play this game, and like there's a map with like some cities that some of the buildings are destroyed and stuff like that. And like beautiful fields and stuff, but like the layouts aren't good. They didn't have like good checkpoint or choke points. A lot of them are like these weird sloped maps where like no matter where you're at, whoever's on the higher ground is always going to win. And like a lot of times you start at like D and you got to move up the mountain to A, and they start at A. So it's like the balance seems really fucking stupid. I guess in real life that would happen, but for a game that you're planning and developing and trying to make feel good, it didn't feel good. It looks great visually. It didn't feel good playing it. So that's a minor gripe. The game plays good on controller. I don't have reservations, I guess.
Yeah, that is a personal thing.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm not trying to like go, he doesn't fucking get it. No. It played fine for me. I played on PS5. And on controller, I was able to get plenty of kills. And my big thing, though, is the ping system in this feels fucking off. I don't know if it's like that on PC either or just on console, but because I've never played this on PC. But the pinging feels weird. So like you have to be pinpoint fucking accurate to spot people, and it seems imprecise when you're using a controller. I would constantly, if you ping in this game, it just puts a yellow arrow to show people. I think I've never saw anyone tell me they saw my arrow. And so when I'm trying to spot somebody, I'm just putting yellow arrows around them. And then finally it's like enemy, and like, spot the guy out. And it felt frustrating. It didn't feel good. So I mostly used that pinging system to spot out if we're going to C, D, B, A, whatever. And I use it a lot because you get those extra points if you capture what you're going after. I also used it when I was healing people because it has that, I think, cool perk where you run faster. You essentially call someone out and they're looking at you screaming, and you're running at them fast, and it feels like a cool in-theme perk. It's a smart idea. But also I don't know how I feel about subclasses and the perks in general. That's a cool perk, but some of the perks maybe aren't that great. I don't know. Also being able to call in like airstrikes and stuff like that via points makes sense gameplay wise, but starts to feel like it's moving towards Call of Duty. Whereas if you play a game like Hell Let Loose, if you don't know what that is, it's a World War II big team battle game like Battlefield. There are resources, and you actually have to call in those strikes to a commander, and the commander has to send that in. And it feels more like an operation than in this. It feels like, oh, I got this many kills. I can fucking use the UAV. I can use the smoke. I can use the fucking bombs. So not necessarily complaining about that, but it is starting to muddy the waters on what Battlefield is. And I don't know if I like the direction it's going. So touched on gameplay's good, feels good on controller, plays just fine, game's fucking gorgeous. The soundtrack's not as good.
No.
I know it's not important to some people.
It.
It's not that important to people. I get that, man. But fucking, I joke about this, but it's 100% true. The soundtrack in Battlefield 1 was so good that every time the music swelled and was building during the middle of a battle, especially when you've been playing for like 30 minutes, and the music just gets really epic while you're running through like fucking fiery fields and explosions and shit. Every single time I'm like, holy fuck, let's go. We're doing this. Every single time. Never got old. I don't know how they did it, but the music was fantastic. Even the menus had this like somber fucking haunting sound that was just perfect. This game, I feel like it's like 1924 and I'm taking the family to the park for a picnic. It's weird. I'm like, what is this? It's World War II. World War II was more epic than World War I. Why is the soundtrack so like burr, 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 just like fucking everyone's just having fun going down to the fucking corral? Like it's so weird. It's not a bad soundtrack. It just doesn't do anything for me. Even in the middle of battle, sometimes you get a little bit of that hint of what they did in Battlefield 1. It's like, okay, well, things are getting a little serious. Whatever.
That kind of reminds me, there's nothing really that happened in our multiplayer that really stood out the way that like in Battlefield 1, where they have those maps where like you're literally taking the entire field slowly and getting pushed back until one team wins the whole map. Though it does make long matches,
Which feels like a war.
but it was a cool mode.
And with the soundtrack and the visuals and stuff.
And then it had really
so
good music on
intense.
top of that, so you felt like you were in an actual war. So I don't get that feeling in this game.
Yeah, this game feels like just at base minimum. They're like, make a battlefield. You know, the basic rules, take the points, tanks, vehicles, all that shit. Just do that. And then like, what maps? Well, just where are some places that battles happened in World War II? These places. Yeah, just make something looks like that. Whatever. It feels kind of like whatever. A couple things more I want to touch on is the TTK, time to kill, doesn't feel good in this game. You can get kills just fine, but I've shot people in the head twice. Just feels weird. Maybe it was their helmet that protected them, but when I'm using like a high caliber rifle, I feel like it shouldn't be a regular thing to shoot people twice in the head. Body shots, you can shoot people like 5 fucking times. It just feels arcadey. It's fine. I got used to it. Whatever. Everybody's doing that. They have to shoot me that many times too. It's cool. But there's multiple times where I like run in like 3 guys and start shooting at me. I'd like drop all 3 of them. And I'm like, I don't even feel good about that. I mean, I feel kind of good about it, but I also feel like, I feel like I shouldn't have been able to do that. They're all shooting at me. And then sometimes I have someone with a pistol just go pop up and just kill me instantly. I'm like, okay. So it feels off. It doesn't feel good. And then also some maps in their design, if people know what they're doing with planes, which is realistic, I guess, but doesn't feel good, they can completely dominate the map 100%. Just sky, air superiority. Just own the map. I played a match. I think you guys were there.
The snow map.
The snow map
Yeah.
where fucking the other team was so good with the planes that my team sucked anyway. Not you guys, but the rest of the people. That map just was an open fucking field for those planes, and it just didn't feel good. So that's one thing about this game that is a constant, is certain things just don't feel good, which sucks because it's a completely competent, beautiful looking game that plays fine, but there's nothing about it that I fucking love. Nothing about it that I love, and I should. It's World War II. It should have a good soundtrack. It's got all the weapons I'm a fan of: PSSH, Thompson, fucking Sten, all that shit. Garand. Love all his weapons. There's nothing about it that just really hits home. A couple things I want to touch on. I played Firestorm, which is their battle royale. It's kind of neat. It doesn't offer anything that other battle royales don't do better than it by far. I was playing, I was like, it makes sense. Battlefield would have a battle royale. This makes sense. It's a big map. It's got vehicles already. It's got weapons, like a plethora of weapons. And I think the fire moving in as the circle is really cool looking. Out in the distance, you see the hills burning, and then when it's close, it's just like all this fire everywhere, and you can see silhouettes of people running around shit. It's got this chaotic feel to it, but the gameplay itself just doesn't offer much to it. I also shot a dude like 8 times, and then he shot me once and killed me, and then that guy, of course, won the whole match. So I was apparently dealing with a god. But I digress. It's a cool mode, but there's a reason why it never took off. It also released late as well, which didn't help it out, but it never got any kind of spike in success like other battle royales have. I played the single player a little bit. I played the intro sequence on my own volition. I decided to do that, and it was an automated escort mission. Like, it literally just like, you're on a plane now, and I flew like left and right a little bit. It's like, all right, next part here, you're a guy in the middle of a war, and I was like, I'm gonna run forward. I just ran forward while people were shooting at me, and then I got to a certain point in that segment, and I just went to the next segment. I'm like, this is literally a hallway of like cool shit to look at. It's whatever. I played one of the stories too. I'm not a fan of it. I don't think Battlefield's strength at all is single player. They've never been good at it. They're not good at telling stories. Even the people at DICE said that when Battlefield 3 came out. They're like, our bread and butter's not storytelling. True. You know it, I know it. Make Battlefield. Yeah. And then the co-op mode is serviceable. I'm glad it's there. It's a good refresher. It's like, you're smelling colognes all day and you smell that fucking coffee to reset your fucking palate. That's what that is. But it's not a robust game mode. And if I was trying to sell this game to somebody who's only into co-op, possibly, I wouldn't even do that because it's not enough to purchase the game or play it enough. You're gonna play it a couple times, be like, that was fun, and then you get back into the multiplayer. So yeah, I pretty much tried everything on this game, and overall, it's cool, but I like Battlefield 1 better. I like Battlefield 4, 3, 2042 100% better. And I'm excited for Battlefield 6 so I can play a new Battlefield, and hopefully the people who make it don't do something that upsets people and communicate that they're assholes for having opinions in a stupid way to make me not buy the game.
I also hope that the changes that are happening at
EA
are for the better when it comes to game design as well.
I'm always wishing for that with EA.
Yeah. So here's hoping, because otherwise, I guess if I want to play Battlefield, I got to go back and play 3, 4, or 1. So
1's great. I just get worried the longer you get away from a game like COD or Battlefield. The newest one people are on. Luckily with 5, it didn't have. It sold well enough, but I think a lot of people went back to older ones. People still play 4 and 3, so yeah, looking forward to 6, and 5's fine. It's fine. All right, all that out of the way. Anything you guys want to say on that before we move into recommendations? All right. Recommendations, if you like first-person shooters, it's a must. It's Battlefield. If you like online multiplayer versus first-person shooters, big battle, first-person shooters, play this. If you like World War II, you want World War II games, it's a World War II game and is one of the most AAA World War II games that exists. So it's got that quality to it. If you like cooperative games, it has that. I wouldn't recommend it solely for that, but it is there if you like a little bit of everything. It's also got single-player non-accurate historically stories, but it's there if you want to play some stories from World War II. If you like teamwork, if you like working as a team, working together as a squad, it offers that. If you like taking lead in games, it offers that as well. If you like really good graphics, Frostbite always does that just fine. Whether the games work well or play well is different, because apparently Frostbite sucks to make games for. Everyone says that unless they make Battlefield.
Yeah.
But Battlefield always has some problem. Ooh, one thing I did not mention. I gotta throw this out there. This is important. I had this weird thing that happened constantly. I'm playing on PS5, and my guns would lock up. My ADS, aim down sight, wouldn't work. My utility tools and shit wouldn't work. And the way to fix that was I'd have to pull out something else and then pull the gun back out that wasn't working, and it would work. And this sounds like maybe is a rare thing. Happened all the time for me. All the time. I'd be in the middle of combat, all of a sudden I couldn't shoot a dude. And I'd just stand there and they start shooting me and shit. So on the point of what I was saying, Battlefield, for some reason, it's a AAA game made by a dev that has infinite resources. On Frostbite, the engine they made, Battlefield always has an issue. There's always some issue. Battlefield 3 had server problems. People couldn't find fucking rooms to get into. Battlefield 4 had its issues with connection and stuff. Hardline had all sorts of issues. I don't know if 1 had any issues. I can't think of any.
I don't remember.
And then 5, I've heard other people have different issues, but I had that issue, and it happened regularly enough for me that it is... Luckily, none of you guys experienced it.
Yeah.
But it happened to me all the time.
And I do think it's worth putting out that I was also playing on PS5, and that was not happening for me.
Yeah. So I don't know what was up with that, but on the point of Battlefield having issues, that was an issue I had. But other than that, that's pretty much my recommendations. I don't know if you guys want to add anything.
I don't think I can add anything. I think you pretty much got it.
Nothing.
Vehicle combat as well. If you want a game that's vehicle combat, this has it. You can fly planes, you can drive tanks, all that kind of shit. If you like the idea of being an engineer and repairing tanks, stuff like that, this is one of the only games that really offers that. So it's one of a kind in a lot of ways, and also pretty fucking generic in others. So
because they keep making it that way.
Building destruction, if you like building destruction as well. Oh, and Battle Royales. If you, for some reason, didn't try Firestorm, check it out. Took a while for me to get in a room, though, so...
You're probably playing Warzone anyways, didn't
A lot of people aren't really playing it. All right, let's jump into grades. I'm dying to know Chris's grade.
Oh, God. This game didn't leave a big impression on me, to be honest. It was pretty generic as far as shooters go for me. And some of the problems I had with it, with the load times and the gun discrepancy of being, I would shoot 20 rounds into someone, they would turn around and pop me, was really frustrating. So I'm just gonna give it a C. It's a serviceable game. People play it. People obviously play it enough. They enjoy it enough. It's not my forte. It's not my genre of gameplay. But it doesn't really excel into the point where I want to play it more. Nor did it leave any kind of super lasting impression on me. So just a C. It's pretty bland.
Battlefield C. All right, Chevy.
I mean, it is Battlefield. Like, even with all like the minor like nitpicks I can make about like which version I prefer, I still felt like I was playing Battlefield. So, but I wasn't in love with it. So I guess a B minus is where I guess what I'm feeling. You know.
Me and Chevy are just real in sync today because fucking I'm also going to give it a B minus for Battlefield minus. It's not as good as other Battlefields, but it's still Battlefield. It's serviceable. Yeah, it works. I'll play it again for sure if somebody wants to play it. If somebody wants to play another Battlefield, I'll play that too. I like Battlefield, but I'm not in love with it. Nothing about it really called out to me. I'll never have the stories of what I have of Battlefield 1, where I'm talking about these epic battles and stuff. That didn't happen in 5. I got to steamroll teams a couple times. I had like a 7-win streak, which was cool. Just fucking wrecking people. That's about it. But, that happens in other FPSs. It's not a Battlefield situation. So, yeah, it's fine. It's a fine game. But there's not a lot wrong with it either. It's a beautiful game. It's made well for the most part. It's got some issues. Even with the fucking weird glitchy thing that happened with my controller and the load times, I'll still give it a B minus. It's a quality game. I'm just looking forward to what they bring with Battlefield 6. Although I'm a little worried that it's just going back to Modern Warfare with fucking Boston Dynamic robot dogs and drones. That's not exciting to me at all. But whatever.
Yeah, I also hope they focus on just like making the multiplayer their priority.
There was a rumor there's not going to be a single player, and people are like, well, I'm not buying it. I'm like, who cares? It's Battlefield. Battlefield started out as just a multiplayer game. They added the single player to try and get that Call of Duty fucking group of people who are used to getting a single player, a multiplayer, and a zombie mode. But Battlefield's bread and butter has never been single player. They haven't done it well. Fucking make that multiplayer. Put all that work into multiplayer.
Why would you spend $70 on a game that has like a 4-hour campaign that's forgettable?
It's fucking in 5. There's not even like a campaign. It's like these little.
I mean, that's pretty much my
shorts.
point, though. It's an expensive ass game for a very short, half-assed experience.
Yeah, put all that development into fucking making the multiplayer just crazier and better.
Well, even in the aspect of multiplayer, right? The co-op was like so tacked on. You could remove that for all I care and put those resources into making the multiplayer a solid experience. And I don't even play that many PvP games, but I think that's what they need to do for this game.
Because that's their strength.
Yeah.
That's where it's at. So
I understand offering an all-in-one package, but it thins out the...
But they're not good at it.
Yeah. The whole experience gets thin at that point, and that's just...
It's like I make you like a 3-course dinner, and just one of the 3 plates is like a banger. The rest of it's like, what the fuck? Why'd you make that?
Right, and it's going to make your meal
I'll just have this. I don't
less
want that
at
part.
that point.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah. They got to play to their strengths. But, yeah. Anything else?
Nope.
Let us know in the comments what you guys think about Battlefield 5. Do you love it? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Did you play it? If you didn't play it, why didn't you play it? What's your favorite Battlefield? Did you play 2142? I'm like the only person who apparently played that fucking game. I love that game. It had a great soundtrack. Great fucking soundtrack. Had mechs and shit. So fucking good. Make a 2143,
Had
motherfuckers.
cool game modes too.
The hell is your problem, EA? A lot of things. And, grade those games. Let us know everything you're thinking about in the comments below. But that's going to do it for this episode of Plus Club for May. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, if you enjoy this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on social media and our streams. Links down below. Discord link down below. And our Patreon if you'd like to support this channel further than liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to this channel. If you're brand new, welcome if you do that. And we are on iTunes, Spotify, and the podcast platforms if you prefer to listen to us in audio form. My name's Seth, and this has been Chevy and Chris. And until the next episode, we will see you later. Take it easy, guys.